Hello everybody, Andrew Hutchins here, still not a licensed physician, still never giving health advice. It's purely educational and informational. Kind of the same thing. Perhaps I should say entertainment and education. And I just made a long video about how evil it is that people who work as doctors decide, I think you are okay having this much pain. Because what gives them the right to decide how much pain someone else has to be in? What I mean by that is they often tell patients, oh, you don't need painkillers. Your pain isn't enough for painkillers. Or, oh, you're in pain, and I'll give you this much painkillers because it's okay if you just go from here to here, because this much pain is how much I decide you can deal with. It's moronic, it's evil. Now, if you've never had pain, you might not understand it. In fact, you do not understand it. Real pain is not like when you burn your finger on a stove or sprain your ankle. Real pain is suffering. Sometimes immense suffering. Sometimes immense suffering that's bad enough to cause, like, PTSD. That's something I never hear talked about. So keep that in mind when you think about pain and people taking pain medications if you've never had pain, that it's actually really damn bad. But I made this whole long video about how people should get however much opioid pain medications that they need, because the risk of addiction is nothing compared to the consequences of not taking the pain medications, and also that you don't make someone addicted by giving them a medication, just like you don't create an alcoholic by giving someone alcohol. As you most likely realize, most people can drink alcohol and never become an alcoholic. So why do we think that every time you give someone opioids that they're going to become an opioid addict? It's not how it works. But there's actually a much more simple solution to all of this, which bypasses everybody's concerns. Because, they're genuinely concerned that everyone's going to become an opioid addict. I mean, sadly, people have been tricked into this, because what happens is you get, one kid who becomes addicted to opioids, not because the opioids made him addicted, but because he had factors in his life that made him addicted. And then he gets addicted, overdoses, and then the mother campaigns to get rid of opioids. We can't give them to anybody. It's yeah, you're sad, but you're being evil. You're letting your sadness make you actually an incredibly evil force for the world. And you're forcing other people to suffer like you're suffering due to your loss. That's how bad real pain can be. Now, I don't know exactly how bad it is to lose your child. Pretty bad, I imagine. Doesn't mean you need to force everyone else to suffer as immensely, or a little bit less immense, a little bit more. Who knows? I can't measure the two. That's something most doctors don't like to admit, is that they can't actually measure things that they don't have experience with. Just because you learn in school that level 6 pain looks like, level 7 pain looks like, level 8 pain looks like, level 9 pain looks like, it's stupid. But now onto the point of how you solve this issue. Well, there's actually another class of drugs, aka medications. Medications are drugs, drugs are medications. They like to call the prescription drugs medications, and the non-prescription drugs, drugs. It makes them sound a lot worse and more evil, but actually, I'm talking about prescription medications that your doctor can prescribe you, but guess what? They won't, because they're ignorant and they're stupid. They are dissociative anesthetics, namely ketamine, but also PCP. Now, if you're an older person watching this, you may have heard about PCP, crazy people on PCP, punching through windshields and getting shot and stuff and still going after people. Well, think about that for a second. I'm not saying this stuff actually happened or didn't happen, it did, I don't know. But if they were able to punch through a windshield and not feel it, and take a bullet and not feel it, doesn't that sound like a very good medication to take if you're in immense pain? In fact, it is. And it's incredibly safe. The rationale for not giving it to people is it alters their mind. So apparently, it's more important to be, well, you're not clear-minded when you're in a bunch of pain, so I don't know how they figure that your mind isn't altered to begin with. But apparently it's better to have your mind altered by a ton of pain, possibly even enough pain to give you PTSD, versus being kind of intoxicated. I don't know if that makes sense to you. To me, it does not make sense. I've dealt with a lot of pain, so I know it makes no sense at all. It's much better to be a little bit intoxicated than to be suffering immensely. Yeah, but that's their rationale. It's mind-altering. We can't let people alter their minds. That would be horrible if, someone was intoxicated. They like to say that you become delusional. Ketamine causes delusions, according to people who work as doctors, when that's actually not true. It does not cause delusions. That's like saying alcohol causes delusions. No, it does not cause delusions, but if you get drunk enough, you're gonna seem kind of delusional, but you're not actually delusional, you're just really intoxicated. There's a big difference between actually being delusional and seeing things that don't exist. And certain medications that, ironically, doctors do use actually cause that, whereas ketamine and PCP do not cause that. In fact, they work very similar to alcohol. The difference is the effects can get much stronger because you can stay awake, whereas alcohol, you're gonna pass out. And if you don't pass out, you're not gonna be feeling too good. Plus, alcohol has an impact on your memory, and it's a central nervous system depressant, making you tired and sleepy and stuff at large doses, whereas ketamine and even more so PCP do not do that. And it may sound crazy, but these are extremely safe medications, extremely well tested on humans. We could certainly do a lot more testing, just like we could on most medications, but these are very safe, well-tested medications that are extremely effective, more so than opioids, have pretty much no overdose risk, have pretty much no addictive risk. So why aren't we using them? Because it makes people delusional? When actually it doesn't make people delusional, so because it makes people intoxicated? That's a pretty bad reason. I even hear doctors saying that in terms of why they won't use it for surgery. It's like, well, they become delusional. It's like, so? First of all, they don't become delusional. Second of all, even if they did, so? It's extremely safe and effective. Doesn't mean we shouldn't use it. And in the outpatient setting, if you have extreme pain, what better medication than one that not that you can't, but that you can't kill yourself with, that you won't get addicted to, and that you're not on the couch, unable to function because you're so zonked out. Wouldn't it be great if you actually were able to walk around and do things while you're in pain, and be awake, be pain-free? That would be horrible. Only thing is, of course, you gotta forbid people from driving, because just like you can't drive drunk, you shouldn't drive under the influence of other medications that alter your mind. But yeah, they don't make you crazy, they don't make you go and punch through windshields. You're not gonna start eating your dog because you took it. It's someone who's gonna decide to randomly eat their dog or eat their friend is gonna do it regardless of what they take. Now, I'm not saying they'll do it completely sober, but I'm saying it doesn't take a specific drug to cause that. They could do it with alcohol, they could do it with ketamine, they could do it with meth, they could do it with whatever. Drugs don't cause the problems. They just interact with problems that already exist. Not that that makes it much better, but the main concern is addiction, in my opinion, and ketamine and PCP are pretty much, well, I mean, it's not that they're non-addictive, it's just like, everything's addictive, food's addictive, everything's addictive, but certain things like opioids have special addictive properties, meaning that when you stop taking them, you feel horrible, which entices people to not stop taking them. Like, if you have the option of just take a pill and don't feel horrible, or don't take the pill and feel horrible, you're probably going to choose, just take the pill, don't feel horrible. Why should I feel horrible? Luckily, with ketamine and PCP, once your pain is gone and you stop taking them, well, guess what? The next day you're back to normal. You're not feeling horrible. You're not in pain because your injury's healed wherever they are. Yeah. Too bad we don't do that. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Check out my other videos. Check out my Instagram, natural_true_fitness. Check out my website, andrewhutchings.org, where you can hire me for training, diet, supplement consultations, coaching plans, etc. No medical advice because I don't have a medical license, but you can get medical information, which just means I don't tell you to do it. I've got a book on tendinitis. It's called A Systematic Guide to Defeating Tendinitis. If you've got tendinitis, I recommend you go on Amazon, you type it in, you find the fastest shipping option, you get it ASAP, stop living in pain like 3-4 weeks later after you've been able to complete the treatment. Be pain-free, able to live your life. Of course, I can't recommend that you actually do this because that would be medical advice. I recommend that you forget everything you read in my book and you don't do any of it. In fact, I don't even recommend you don't do any of it because that's a recommendation. I recommend that you just forget it all because that has nothing to do with doing it or not doing it.